here on Mexico's premier train. We're on the Chepe Express. We're going all the way up from Los Mochis to Creel. It's about 9 hours on this, Mexico's best train. In today's video, we'll be taking this luxury train, Mexico's greatest, in first class on one of the most remarkable railway journeys you can take. The Chepe Express runs through the iconic Copper Canyon in Mexico. Stay with us as we wind our way up the mountains, eating and drinking along the way with incredible views to boot. The Chihuahua Pacific Railroad is one of the world's engineering marvels, snaking its way through remote and inhospitable mountains via some of Mexico's hidden gem tourist attractions, and our train is for the mountain town of Creel in the Sierra Tarahumara Mountains. Join me aboard the Chepe Express and you might find you'll add this trip to your bucket list. Enjoy the video. Today's video starts in Los Mochis. It's the terminus of the Chihuahua Pacific Railroad, one of the world's most fascinatingly beautiful railways. The station has an assortment of railway vehicles on display, from the very small to the gigantic. Our train is mostly comprised of fairly new tourist, executive and first-class rolling stock, dating from 2018. There's a baggage check here too. My large bag is checked all the way to Creel. Oh, and I'm doing this trip with my friend Matty, who runs the non-stop Eurotrip channel many of you will already have the good taste to have subscribed to. It is possible to buy tickets on the day, but if you're going first class, you really need to book some way in advance. This is a popular train. The Chepe Express we're taking is one of two El Chepe trains, the other being Chepe Regional, a cheaper train which follows the same route but extended all the way to Chihuahua. Our train terminates at the mountain town of Creel, with the separate regional service taking locals and budget travellers all the way to the state capital, Chihuahua. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN, an award-winning virtual private network. Now, there are a ton of great reasons to use Surfshark. Today, I've been travelling on my regular commute between Rugby and London, and I use the hour to catch up on emails, do some editing, and Surfshark is a great first line of defence against prying eyes trying to steal my information on public Wi-Fi networks. It won't have escaped most of you that Black Friday is upon us, that special time of year where you can get some amazing deals online. But what if I told you that regardless of the sales, companies often do price discrimination? That means that prices can be higher or lower depending on where the company thinks you're accessing their website from. Sometimes access to those sites can even be blocked depending on which geography you're accessing it from, but you would really be surprised at how much you can save. And this is where Surfshark comes in so useful. It can spoof an IP address to trick the website into thinking that you're accessing it from a different country. With over 3,000 server locations in more than 100 countries, you're almost guaranteed to find a geography that suits you with Surfshark. Of course, it's available to you, my subscribers, at a very special deal, and it's time limited. It costs less than a cup of coffee per month. Go to surfshark.com/wingin for 4 extra months for free of Surfshark VPN at an unbeatable price. Our train is due to leave at 7 AM sharp, and we board some 20 minutes prior to departure. Gracias. So off we go down to the back of the train, and I know that our carriage is at the back of the train because there's something very special at the very rear of this very special service. This is the Chepe Express. It's going to take us about 9 hours to go only 300 kilometers or so through the Copper Canyon, and it's one of the world's great train trips. In the consist today is this stunning ex-Union Pacific Dome car, which serves as the first-class restaurant. It is gorgeous, and we'll be taking 2 meals in the Bubble Dome atop the train during today's trip, giving us some incredible views. First class is in a 2-2 configuration with all leather seating. Today is a scorching 38 degrees, but you'll be pleased to know the air conditioning is absolutely on point. However, a different form of ventilation is available in the very end car. Just take a look at this. my god. The rear portion of the bar car has fully opening windows and, what's more, an open observation panel at the very back for the most incredible views of the route behind. Only first-class passengers have access to the bar, and the train effectively operates as 3 separate trains, one for each class of travel. You can't really walk between classes. This is seat 6C, and it's where I'll be spending the next 9 hours. Well, some of the next 9 hours anyway. We depart Los Mochis on time. These locomotives belong to the railway company Ferromex, Mexico's largest railway company with over 7,500 miles of track. This is very much a working industrial railway with plenty of freight, which gives a bit of added interest for the enthusiast. It's worth saying the train also has private security. This is Mexico, after all. But other than this single pickup truck, the security detail is very discreet, and I didn't notice the armed guards who apparently travel somewhere aboard for added protection. Today's train is lightly loaded for the first portion of our journey to El Fuerte, some 2 hours up the line, where a large group is due to board. And it's a good time to get breakfast. Passengers in first class get a coloured wristband to wear, a bit like a theme park. Well, if a railway could be a theme park, this comes close enough for me. The Urike restaurant hosts breakfast and lunch for us today, and what a privilege to be able to sit up here. This stretch of line reminds us that we are on a logistical marvel and a necessity. This line was completed in full only in 1961, but began construction around 60 years earlier as a way of getting cattle from Kansas to the nearest Pacific port of Topolobampo. Breakfast is very good. I've gone for the apple waffles, while Matty has granola yogurt and kiwi fruit. All of the food is cooked fresh on board in the restaurant car. The line ascends a gradient for most of our route as we go from near sea level to the Copper Canyon. Some towns are bypassed. The regional train will stop here, but we will call only at El Fuerte, Bahuichivo and Divisadero en route to Creel. Well, I've definitely had worse views having breakfast. The first-class bathrooms are pretty posh looking, and yes, the water had a decent pressure and was even cold despite the hot day. This is El Fuerte, where many tourists join the train. Our train is now pretty much full and ready for the most spectacular section of line. I can definitely recommend an early lunch reservation. There are actually 2 sittings on board for lunch, and this is my advice for most luxury trains. Get seated, have your meal, and then the rest of the train, like the bar, is at your disposal while the second sitting eats. And that means you'll get first dibs at a good spot in the bar car and the observation window at the rear for the rest of the journey. Now, all of the food on board is free at lunchtime. However, if you want something particularly nice, it's going to cost you an extra 150 pesos. There are a few options like that on the menu, and I've gone for one. I've gone for the New York strip, and I can't wait. Lunch on board was reasonably good. The steak was maybe a little too well done for me, but there is little to complain about when the views are this good. This is the Copper Canyon. It is inhospitable, spectacular, and, to be frank, it is not well known enough outside of North America. I was blown away by the scenery on this trip, which rivals anything I've seen on long-distance trains in the USA and Canada. I marvelled at the ingenuity and hard work it must have taken to build this line over some 60 years. There are 37 bridges and 86 tunnels on the route, giving glimpses of stunning vistas below, while capriciously taking them away moments later. It is a charming and exciting route, with the Rio Fuerte River providing the context. This is easily one of the world's greatest railway journeys you can do in one day. We've had an elegant sufficiency, and now it's time to explore the bar car to experience the trip from a different perspective, and with a different blood alcohol level. We are now approaching one of the major highlights of the route, the loop at Temores, a small village stop on the regional trains. A series of hairpins and tunnels mean we cross over ourselves to gain elevation here. Note the sign here which memorializes the 1961 inauguration of the Chihuahua al Pacifico Railroad. Our slow ascent takes us closer to our maximum elevation, which we will reach near Divisadero later on in the trip. As I've mentioned, the bar car has fully opening windows, and I have to say, there is quite the effect when going through tunnels. I really hope you like a bit of diesel with your Long Island iced tea. From here, I'll let the scenery do more of the talking. We now approach Bahuichivo, where the scenery becomes much more subtle and graded, and the temperature has dropped with the altitude. This is a popular jumping off point for tourists. No, you don't have to do the line all in one day. Bahuichivo is noted as a haven of tranquility and beauty, and there's a hike that you can do to a waterfall some 8 miles from the station. The peddlers and small storekeepers along the route remind us how railways are the lifeblood of human activity and industry. You can make sales through the open windows of the bar car, if you're quick. This is Divisadero. We are now some 7,500 feet above sea level, and this rocky outcrop of a town marks the continental divide of the Americas. Behind us, rainwater drains into the Pacific. Ahead, the Atlantic. And about that rain, wow, this is quite the storm, and I feel so lucky that this didn't come a few hours earlier. Welcome to Creel. This is the end of the line, or at least it is for us. Our Chepe Express first-class tickets cost 5,400 Mexican pesos, about £210 or $260 US. In my view, a bargain at the price. 9 hours in first class over one of the world's great railways. Thank you so much for watching, and also thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring the video. Go to surfshark.com/wingin for 4 extra months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.